Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here. Have you ever looked at how some people, some businesses, some nations, some politicians, leaders seem to be able to navigate the biggest challenges they have with a remarkable sense of purpose? They don't always seem to win by being the biggest or the loudest. Often their success comes from a quiet, profound wisdom. And for me, that wisdom nearly always leads back to one extraordinary teacher, and that is Master Sun, or Sun Tzu. My name is Muhammad Abbasi, and I've spent a good part of my life studying strategy, Eastern strategy, especially Chinese, Japanese, and Indian. How to plan effectively, how to understand complex situations, and how to achieve meaningful outcomes are in this book. Today we're going to dive deep into the mind of Sun Tzu. He wrote his famous book, or compiled it, The Art of War, thousands of years ago. 2,500 to be exact. But what's truly astonishing, what I've discovered through years of study and conversation with various leaders, is that his ideas are not just old history. They are the fundamental bedrock of success in everything from modern military operations to intricate business dealings today. To truly understand how powerful Sun Tzu's thinking is, we also borrow some insights from two other incredibly wise figures. Janakya, the ancient Vedic or Indian statesman and philosopher, and Niccolo Machiavelli, the brilliant Italian thinker. They help us see just how deeply Sun Tzu's wisdom applies to the real, often complicated world of power and leadership today. My hope is to offer you a clear and understandable way to see these powerful truths. The first part we're going to talk about is Sun Tzu's core, which is the secret game. Sun Tzu, our central figure, stated a guiding principle. If you know your enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know your enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know your enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. This isn't just a military saying, it's a profound truth about getting things done. He laid out a step-by-step approach that what we call now, what we recognize now as the kill chain, which sounds like a huge military term, but it's actually really Sun Tzu's perfectly organized way to achieve any goal. Let's imagine it's like getting ready for a huge important competition. Knowing your enemy is the first step, first vital step. Sun Tzu's insight here is crucial. It's about truly understanding the other side, their strengths, their weaknesses, even what they might think you're going to do. This is what we call the spot, the watch, the follow. It means getting completely clear information, like a perfect map that shows you everything your opponent is doing, leaving no room for guesswork. Without this clear picture, any move that you make is just a gamble. And as Sun Tzu taught, gambling with important matters is a path to peril. It's all about seeing what isn't obvious. Next part is knowing yourself. This is an equally vital part, and Sun Tzu was very clear about it. It means understanding your own strengths, your own team's capabilities, your weaknesses, your resources, how everything works together. And this is the next stage. Choose, act, and check. It's about leveraging your strengths precisely, making sure every part of your effort, your people, your tools, your plans are perfectly connected to deliver a strong, decisive impact. It's about using your own strengths in the smartest way possible. Sun Tzu also stressed speed. He stressed clever tactics and hitting where your opponent is the weakest. A well-executed game plan built on Sun Tzu's wisdom does exactly that. It allows you to move and decide faster than your opponent can even react. It's not just about speed, it's about strategic tempo a pace of action that keeps you in control, that helps you and keeps you in control. Okay, let's quickly go through some of these crucial steps, and Sun Tzu outlined them, thinking about how they apply to any well-planned effort, like an Air Force mission, for example. Now, imagine you have a radar in front of you and you spot something on the radar. You want to know what that is. You're detecting it. You've detected a possible challenge or an opportunity from afar. You're gathering all the information about that. You're seeing what's out there. Now you watch and follow. You keep a close eye on that. Once spotted, you focus in. You pinpoint details and you're continuously observing. This is about precision and constant awareness. You're kind of educating yourself what this is. Now you're choosing. You're deciding what the best action is. Based on clear information, you select the best path or tool for your goal. This needs quick, smart decisions by you. Then you act. You make it happen. This is the execution of your plan. It requires clear communication, a focused effort from everyone involved. Your whole team should be behind you now. Then you check, after the mission is completed, you check what's happened. The final crucial step is see if your action worked. This feedback helps you learn, helps you adapt, making you even better next time. Now, how does this play in the real world? You look at the Indian and Pakistani clashes a few weeks ago, specifically the air clashes. Let's bring the timeless principles of Sun Tzu to this very real and widely discussed situation. What was observed from a strategic perspective offered profound lessons, not just for the Indian and the Pakistani militaries, but militaries around the world. Pakistan, or the Pakistan Armed Forces specifically, it was reported, showed a remarkable ability to work as a team, to work as one, and true embodiment of Sun Tzu's emphasis on unity and coherence in action. They even used Sun Tzu's principle that all fighting is based on cleverness. So when you can attack, you must seem unable. When you are using your forces, you must seem inactive. Their effectiveness wasn't just about their jets, it was about how their entire system worked. Their intelligence system, command system, execution, talked to each other constantly and smartly, just as Sun Tzu knew creates immense advantage. Pakistanis used a connected air defense network, AWACS, Airborne Warning and Control System, or AEW, Airborne Early Warning System, with ground information, ground radars, quickly relayed information to their flying command aircraft. These centers acted like a central brain, constantly putting all this information together very quickly and giving precise instructions to the jets, to the pilots. Their smooth, fast flow allowed them to act from a distance using advanced weapons without showing their full hand. This allowed them to act where the opponent is unprepared and achieve goals with minimal cost, allowing and showing a powerful pace of action. Their overall plan, much like Sun Tzu would advise, was fast, it was clear, it was fully connected. In contrast, the Indian Air Force, which is also a very professional Air Force, reportedly faced challenges in connecting its many different platforms, many different systems from many different backgrounds, many different countries. This created breaks in their game plan, frustrating delays and difficulties in sharing information. Imagine trying to build something really complicated, but your team has different instructions and can't even talk to each other clearly. That in essence was the reported challenge of the Indians. Their game plan was slower, less accurate, and so less effective in the fast information-packed world of modern air fighting. This clearly shows Sun Tzu's warning: if you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will lose every battle. What becomes clear when you observe such situations, the kind I've been fortunate enough to discuss with experienced leaders and strategists, is that true power isn't just about raw strength. It's about speed. It's about how well everything works together. It's how tough the entire connected system is. This is a direct echo of Sun Tzu's wisdom on synchronized efforts. This is where real influence and lasting advantage are built. The other part of Sun Tzu is talking about, it's about broader wisdom, about calm minds, of information wars, about playgrounds. Sun Tzu's smart ideas aren't just for armies. They reach into every corner of effective leadership. Sun Tzu spoke profoundly about the importance of calmness, of inner peace, of being mindful of the present moment, being present. When you are fighting a war, when you're fighting a battle, you do not exist somewhere else in your head, you exist in the present moment. Sun Tzu stated that the calm, steady person who doesn't get emotional wins, not the hothead seeking revenge. Let me say that again. The calm, steady person who doesn't get emotional wins, not the hothead seeking revenge. Both Janakya and Machiavelli, in their own ways, show just how vital this is for a ruler. Janakya taught that a king must be disciplined and control his senses to make wise decisions. Machiavelli observed that a ruler must manage their own feelings to avoid appearing weak or unpredictable. Think about a time when you really felt stressed. What if in that moment you could stay completely calm and think clearly? That is the power Sun Tzu points to. Simple practices that can help cultivate that mental stillness. The inner discipline is a powerful strategic asset for a leader. Now, let's look at information and mind games. Sun Tzu plainly said that all fighting is based on cleverness. Okay, all fighting is based on cleverness. Janakya was a master of using spies and spreading information to gain advantage. Machiavelli wrote about how a ruler must carefully control their reputation and what people believe about them. Sometimes the most dangerous weapon isn't a bomb, it's a carefully placed idea, a subtly woven story, a news story, a social media post, something on X that can shift public opinion, weaken an opponent, and even help win without direct fighting. We see this constantly when groups try to influence relationships or stability. What becomes clear when one analyzes these efforts is the deep, subtle game of influence being played against you. Leaders today are increasingly aware of these information strategies, seeking to understand them rather than just react. This is a very clever yet powerful aspect of modern statecraft, directly rooted in Sun Tzu's ideas about knowing how to deceive and influence. Finally, Sun Tzu also talked about the importance of terrain, of the land. When he spoke of mountains and rivers, his fundamental insight was about understanding your environment. Janakya understood this as controlling trade routes and resources. Machiavelli knew the importance of strong fortresses. Today, that terrain includes invisible places. Think about how leaders of old used a hidden valley for a surprise attack. Today, those paths are digital. Cyber capabilities offer hidden ways to influence, allowing precise actions against computer systems, for example. Drone technology gives you the high ground, providing incredible views and precise ways to take action. Advanced surveillance maps every detail. A truly wise leader adapts. To master these new playgrounds, the digital world, aerial space, and the flow of information is how enduring success is built today, all following Sun Tzu's core principles of insight about understanding the battlefield. Now, we look at Sun Tzu as a leader, his virtues for lasting success. So what kind of a leader did Sun Tzu say is absolutely needed through tough times? He believed the leader's character was like a country's shield. He talked about 5 important qualities. He talked about wisdom, about sincerity. He talked about humanity. He talked about courage. He talked about strictness. Wisdom, sincerity, humanity, courage, and strictness. Janakya and Machiavelli would both add practical layers to these. For them, a leader's job is to secure the state's strength and prosperity, even if it means tough choices. Wisdom is thinking carefully instead of rushing in. Sincerity is building trust, which Machiavelli knew was essential for reputation and Janakya for loyalty. Humanity is caring for your people, because as Janakya understood, a happy population is a strong one. Courage is taking strong action, even when it's scary. Strictness is making sure rules are followed for order and effectiveness. In any tough situation, things are always complicated and we don't always see the full picture of a leader. But the most important test isn't just about winning one fight, it's about lasting peace and strength. They're built for their people, for their nation. This is how Sun Tzu's goal of total victory is about achieving your aims with minimal loss, building lasting peace through strong strategy. Sun Tzu's lens on today's tensions, let's think about what's happening between the Israelis and the Iranians, for example. What would Sun Tzu say about that? How are Sun Tzu's principles related to that? How is Sun Tzu's ideas with that? What's happening there? So if we take Sun Tzu's foundational principles and gently apply them to the situation of immense important concern in our current world, between Iran and Israel, it becomes a profoundly complex and sensitive matter, one that affects many deeply. But from a pragmatic viewpoint of Sun Tzu, here is how one might begin to understand the dynamics at play. I want to be very, very clear. My purpose here is not to advocate for one side or another, or to promote one political view or another. My role as a student of strategy is simply to illuminate these situations through the lens of timeless wisdom, fostering understanding and not fueling division. Sun Tzu would first emphasize what we always should understand. He would emphasize knowing yourself and knowing your opponent for both sides. Both the Iranians and the Israelis, he would emphasize knowing yourself and knowing your opponent. For Israel and Iran, this means a meticulous understanding not merely of each other's visible military capacities, but critically their underlying political objectives, their economic stabilities, the internal dynamics of their leadership, the resolve of their populations, and the true nature of their alliances within the country and outside the country. It's not just about what you see, it's about what you understand about their true motivations and their internal pressures, as Machiavelli would observe, or Janakya would stress the absolute need for robust intelligence networks to gather this hidden information. They would then consider the broader strategic game plan in terms of maintaining influence and preventing undue harm. Sun Tzu would see reports of actions not as isolated events, but as calculated signals within a very dangerous high-stakes conversation. Janakya and Machiavelli would look at how states use all available tools like diplomacy, economic pressure, carefully managed shows of force, and even the cultivation of internal divisions within the opponent to achieving their aims without inviting ruin. The goal, as Sun Tzu advocated, is to influence the opponent's will before a full-scale war becomes inevitable, always seeking objectives within the least possible cost to the state. The immense role of information in shaping perceptions would be central to their analysis. Sun Tzu would see how both nations endeavor to control the narrative, bolster the morale of their own populations, and perhaps sow doubt and uncertainty within the opposing sphere, opposing people. This is the cleverness that Sun Tzu spoke of, made real by Machiavelli's understanding of reputational and Janakya's mastery of propaganda. And finally, we talk about terrain in its modern interpretation. Beyond physical borders, we see engagements in the aerial domain and increasingly within the digital landscape through cyber operations. Sun Tzu, through these thinkers, would note that both Israelis and Iranians are utilizing these new playgrounds to gain advantages. Understanding and mastering these emergent, invisible battlefields is paramount for maintaining a strong position. This is, as we know, a profoundly sensitive and delicate situation, and from Sun Tzu's ancient wisdom, a key lesson emerges. The ultimate objective of strategy is always to secure the nation's enduring interests with the minimal necessary cost, and if possible, without devastating conflict. It requires immense wisdom, a ruthless honesty about realities, a nuanced understanding of all the interconnected elements, and the capacity to think not merely one step, but many steps ahead. When I've had the opportunity to engage in discussions with various leaders and experts in these complex global challenges, Sun Tzu's principles are interpreted by other thinkers constantly reveal themselves as the most powerful tools for understanding and navigating the current path forward for the Israelis and the Iranians and other countries. As we explore today the ancient wisdom of Sun Tzu, illuminated by, practical insights of Janakya and Machiavelli, it's far more than just a historical text. It's a timeless living guide for understanding how to achieve lasting success and stability in any endeavor, from complex international relations to the quiet challenges of our own lives. His simple yet powerful insights about planning, about astute observation, and about the true essence of leadership remain incredibly important today. My greatest hope is that by understanding these ideas, you'll feel a little more confident in understanding the grand movements of our world, and perhaps even the intricate strategies within our own daily lives. This isn't just history, it's about how enduring success is truly built. Even now, even when one understands these truths, one becomes not an antagonist, but a clear builder of stable and prosperous outcomes. Remember, fighting is easy. Fighting physically is easy, but fighting from within is different. The knowledge of how to secure total victory in Sun Tzu's profound sense means cultivating wisdom, not for aggression, but for the well-being and enduring strength of all of us. It makes one a valuable and trusted voice to any who seek lasting, effective solutions. If this sparked a thought, if it brought a new perspective, if it simply made you say, wow, that's really cool, please consider just hitting the like button, subscribing to my channel, and following me on social media, and most importantly, sharing this video with others. And remember to comment on this video and let me know what other things we can talk about, either through the lens of Sun Tzu, Chanakya, or Machiavelli, or whatever. And let's see how these ancient ideas appear to us. Let's discuss them, how they appear to us in today's world, and how it appears or how it affects you on your journey in life. Thank you for your presence, and I look forward to our next conversation.